we are.
Let the toxicity begin.
No, man. No toxicity. This is a PMO
Yes.
stream.
Yes, I know you have feelings. You are actually, for once, the more negative out of the two of us about the topics today.
Probably. So, welcome to episode 14 of TyriaNow. Woohoo! We haven't streamed in a month.
Yeah, we've had scheduling conflicts mostly on my part because I'm a busy boy, guys. I'm a busy boy.
And you've been apartment hunting, trying to get a new place.
I have, yeah, and it's not going well. I was on the last hoop to jump through for the place I wanted, and it didn't come through.
That's really
so it's back
bad.
to square one. Yeah, I was angry.
Yeah, anger is, I think, an appropriate response in this situation.
Yeah, it was very obnoxious. But we're back now. We got all our faithful chatters here hanging out, spewing forth their thoughts. I appreciate it, guys.
So today we're just gonna talk about this announcement. I know that there's like stuff that we didn't cover, like Teapot's ERP, which happened last weekend, which was pretty amazing to watch. But
I didn't watch any of it.
Are you?
I respect it. It's just it's not my content.
We were in Discord taking bets. Like Josh and Arrow started up a betting pool on like who would win. It was pretty fun.
It was a pretty popular item.
So the Elitist Trading Party, a successful venture. I think Teapot at the highest point had something like 12K viewers.
That's crazy.
Pretty crazy.
That is
very, very like production quality, high value is really awesome. And now he's off playing Classic WoW.
I mean, it was a great send-off. All right, it was a great send-off.
Although he did stream yesterday, after the announcement. He did make out like a bandit. So, Aaron, what have you been doing? Before we jump in, I know you were out at PAX yesterday with hanging out with Kit and Age.
Well, I wasn't technically at PAX. The announcement was actually completely separate from PAX. Like you didn't need a badge to get in. But yeah, I was at the announcement yesterday. Age Night Road and Kit the Traveler sat with me, as well as Kit's.
I saw Kit tweeting out pictures. Cool.
Yeah, so we had a good time there. And then when I have been playing Guild Wars 2 lately, I've just pretty much been exclusively playing World v World. I haven't been I even fell off of Fractals. I was doing really good with the Fractals for a long time, and then I kind of fell off them recently. I want to get back on them, but it's mostly World v World for me right now in game.
Good place.
How about you? What have you been doing in Guild Wars?
In Guild Wars, raiding. Not even worked on I haven't worked on Sky Scale stuff. I'm still collecting currency for the saddle. And that just hasn't happened because I've been busy. The main thing I've been doing is working on the Virtually Interrupted website, which finally launched on Thursday.
Virtually Interrupted taken off. I like it.
Yes, we'll talk more about that later. So that's what I've been doing, is just doing a lot of web dev and raiding. It's
kind of, I'm not going to lie to you. You should have your Sky Scale by now.
I should.
I'm going to give you a deadline. You have to have it by the 17th. Okay? You have to.
Yes, I agree. I agree. I just need to make it happen. See, like today I was going to log in and I ended up editing articles.
The 17th is your deadline for the Sky Scale.
All right.
If you don't have it going until season 5, it's an issue.
All right. So everyone who sees me in game and sees me in the aerodrome has to then whisper me and say, "Why the hell aren't you out in the season 4 maps collecting your damn currencies?" I think I'm missing 3.
Which, let me guess, Mistonium, right?
No, I finished Mistonium. I finished Mistonium.
If you finish Mistonium, you're over the hump.
I think
all
Inscribed Shards, is that?
Inscribed Shards aren't as bad.
Which map is that? I can't even remember.
Corna.
No, I finished that one as well.
Sandswift Isles Diflorite, I bet.
Did that one already too.
Those are the two. Those are the three worst
So
ones.
so I'm on the other ones.
Yeah, Mistborn moats are the game basically crams them down your throat.
Oh no, Mistborn Moats is the one that I finished. So it's Mistonium that I'm missing. Okay.
Yeah, see, that's not good. Mistonium's not fun.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, enjoy that.
Thanks.
Chat. So if you have the deadline for the 17th at the Sky Scale, chat wants me to have 2K world rank by the 17th, and somehow I don't think that's humanly possible, let alone something I can achieve. So I think I'll pass on that deadline, chat.
Why? I mean, you should have a. I mean, you're living in WDev, so why can't you just crush it?
I can't get 350 ranks in 3 weeks. That's too much. Yeah.
You would have to basically stop your job.
I would. And I could. I have enough PTO to take 3 weeks off and just do that. But that sounds like a worse way to spend my time than working. So I'll refrain from doing so.
That's true.
Yeah.
All right. So September 17th is my deadline for the Sky Scale. Aaron has set it. Anyone who raids with me has to make sure that I meet this deadline. Otherwise,
please hold this individual accountable, guys.
Yes. So I see in the notes that you said that you logged in to redeem your Aurene outfit code. Did you tweet out you didn't tweet out a picture of it like Alona did after you shared a code with her?
She tweeted that she wanted a code, and I was like, I have this extra code, so you can have it.
That was very kind of you.
They gave us 2 codes. I assume they gave us one to share with a friend, so yeah, I didn't care enough about it to tweet out a picture of mine, though.
Who did you stick it on?
I'm not wearing it.
You're like, unlock, great, next.
Why would I wear that? Oh my god.
Oh no. I've been raiding with the dragon emblem outfit on for the past several weeks, I feel like.
Like, imagine you buy this fantasy MMO and you're like, wow, I want to make a badass character and kill monsters. You know what I want to wear? Khaki shorts and a t-shirt that's tucked into.
You know what that outfit reminds me of?
I'm going hiking at the Grand Canyon.
It reminds me of Lara Croft Tomb Raider. That's why I like it.
It reminds me of a Sunday dad going hiking with his kids after church. T-shirt tucked into khakis? Come on. That's hiking gear, all right?
I mean, it would be, I suppose, in your headcanon.
That is a socks and sandals bit of attire, my friend.
Socks and sandals would have made that outfit the dad camping outfit.
Exactly. It is the beginnings of a dad camping outfit. It is.
Okay. We're going to disagree on this one. I happen to like it.
I don't think it looks too good.
Okay. I know. I get made fun of for wearing it. People are like, why are you wearing that? I was like, because it's cool. Shut up.
We don't want to talk about Kung Fu Tea, though.
No. I won that outfit as the Dragon Emblem one as a Twitter giveaway.
Is that outfit like, can you get that on the gem store, or is it only from the Kung Fu Tea thing?
No. I somehow have it on my alt account, and I'm not sure how I got it. So I must have gotten something off of the trading post. That's it, because I have it on both. I only won the code once.
Gotcha. Yeah. I don't. Is the Aurene outfit exclusive to like giveaways around this, or will we be able to get it on the store?
It's not in the store. It was exclusive to giveaways in Twitch chat yesterday, and some partners have been given codes, and they've been tweeting them out and giving them away.
Huh. Well, I guess I have an exclusive outfit then that I'm never going to wear.
That you'll never wear, with the aqua Aurene shirt. Khaki shorts.
It actually works really well on my Guardian because he's like a blue Sylvari.
I was gonna say that it matches your Sylvari very well.
Maybe I'll wear it to raid just to be a cool kid. Yeah.
Okay. So, what have you linked me here in the notes? I'm gonna have to open up stuff in a different window. Is that the idea?
I had the trailers linked in the notes there. Yeah.
You've got a timestamp and everything.
Well, because they didn't actually post a video of the cutscene that they previewed. The cutscene is only viewable in the full announcement video, which is an hour and 45 minutes long. So I went ahead and timestamped it.
That I'm gonna have to pull it up. But anyways, so let's talk about this announcement.
Yeah. It was a lot of people are disappointed with it.
I am yes, I would say that is a fair assessment.
So what they've announced basically is season 5 of Living World will be starting on September 17th. It is known as the Icebrood Saga. It's Jormag is the antagonist. They had that photo with the lead up to the announcement that was like revealing stuff. You know what I love about this picture reveal that they did for the lead up to the announcement? Everybody was like giving all these theories and stuff, and I was just like, it just looks like a bunch of Icebrood.
You did. You were like, that just looks like Icebrood. And I was like, that looks like a charr in the middle, and that looks like a norn behind him. And you're like, Icebrood?
Yeah, I was like, that just looks like a bunch of Icebrood.
Why do you gotta? I was getting excited by the dynamic image reveal on the stream, and you were like, it just looks like Icebrood, and I was like, why do you gotta harsh my buzz, bro?
Except that I was dead on. It's a bunch of Icebrood.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Yeah. People had all these interesting theories. Like I saw it all over Twitter. People were like, wow, the fan theories in the Twitch chat are really great. They're terrible, but some people really like them, right? Mm-hmm. And then it's just like, it's Icebrood. It's Jormag
Icebrood, and I think the charr in the front is supposed to be Ritlock.
No, it's just a charr.
Charr, just an Icebrood charr. Anyway, and then you can see Jormag's eyes.
I mean, Ritlock's not an Icebrood. That would be a huge spoiler if they put Icebrood Ritlock on there.
I mean, they killed off air. Why not make Ritlock turn Icebrood?
That'd be kind of funny, honestly. Then we'd have to enlist the Flame Legion's help to dehumidify him a little bit. Dehumidify. That's not the right word.
Melt him.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't know. The word just popped in my head. It's the wrong one.
Dehumidify works. We'll talk.
Right.
So yeah. So we're going to the far Shiverpeaks. Are you excited about this as a Guild Wars 1 veteran?
It was an okay region in Eye of the North. I'm more excited about the charr homelands, which we'll actually be going to first. The prequel episode is going to be taking us to Grothmar Valley, which is a place we could go in Guild Wars 1. It was known as Grothmar War Downs in Guild Wars 1. I don't know what a war down is, but that was the name of the map. I don't know.
Hoedown. It's the charr hoedown.
Yeah. So we'll be going there in the prequel episode, Bound by Blood, which is the most charr thing to say maybe ever. And I'm a little more into the charr homelands thing than the far Shiverpeaks thing. I'm sure they'll both be good, right? Like, Arenanet makes great maps. They always make sure to sprinkle a lot of stuff to do into the new Living World maps. There's always some good set pieces in each map, so I have faith in that. I do think the charr rock concert was kind of weird.
I was like, okay, I can see how this would be a fun thing to kind of come across, because they had in Path of Fire and it was in Amnoon in the casino, you stumble across kind of like a rave in a corner. Have you ever stumbled across this?
No, I don't explore.
I found it by chance one day when I was doing map completion. And so yeah, there's like a little rave in the corner, and I was like, oh, this is cool. And life. So it'll be interesting how they make this rock concert. And apparently now rock concerts are canon to Tyria with like guitars and everything and a drum set and a microphone. And I was like, what?
When I was watching this, it reminded me that my sense of humor doesn't gel with Arenanet's sense of humor. And I don't gel with most of the people who play this game, because as I'm watching this in the theater, everybody around me is like, yes, that's amazing. And I'm the only one face palming in the entire theater. I'm the only one face palming. I don't know. I'll probably skip the rock concert. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I kind of think it would be something that would be probably instance and part of like a story step. I don't,
If they're,
or like, I don't know if they're gonna make like the Meattoberfest a festival or something like that would be going on in the corners. I don't know.
I'm just really worried that they're actually going to, because you know how they recorded a song for Dragon Bash, right? Which is a terrible
Oh, we're
song.
gonna
But
get a charr song.
yeah, I'm like, are
We're
they
gonna get it. I
do?
mean, they didn't go to the trouble of showing the guitarist, rocking out, the drummer rocking out, and the guy with the microphone in his hand, like all like, yeah, we're gonna do this.
I'm so worried they're gonna record a charr heavy metal song. Like,
Bard next elite spec confirmed. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
yeah, if only
Mhm.
they confirmed any elite specs in this announcement, right? But spoiler alert, they
They
didn't.
didn't.
Yeah, but I don't know. Are you? I'm excited. Like, I like Living World, right? There's a bunch of
I
other
do as
things
well.
that didn't get a lot of attention in this announcement, but Living World was obviously the main thing. Obviously, it was called like Guild Wars 2 Living World, right? So of course, Living World is going to be the main focus of the announcement. And I like Living World, so I'm good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Good with
I
those.
think my initial response yesterday was like, "That's it. That's all you're gonna give us is just Living World," and then I kind of stepped back and allowed myself to process a bit, and I was like, "Well, that is what they were advertising the entire time." And we were the ones, or I was the one who kept saying, "We need more. We need more. We need more. That's not going to be enough. That's not going to be enough." So yeah, I'm guilty of having kind of, I guess, built up the expectations in my own. However, I'm
I don't think it's wrong to have built up expectations though, because they went to the trouble of booking a theater, and not only a theater, a relatively high end theater in Seattle. Like the Moore Theater is kind of it's a spot,
yeah.
right? And so they go to that trouble and they're hyping this thing for weeks, and just the amount of effort they went to just announce a Living World season and b a bunch of stuff that we already knew was coming.
Right.
The announcement of build templates is not new. We already knew about
So
that. The alliance, World Alliances, that's not new. We already knew about that. We already knew about Swiss, as far as I'm aware.
yes, we did.
Um,
This was all stuff that was in the roadmap post that Mike Z posted back in
yeah,
April.
none of this was new information except for the Icebrood Saga, and I don't think that warrants a theater announcement.
And
The
the other thing was the
strike missions,
strike missions.
yeah, which is we can talk about that.
Mhm.
That's I think a good implementation. It's just I think if you're going to book a live venue like that and make a whole production out of the thing, they had paid cosplayers there, right? They
Yes.
had photo ops, they had a merch booth. Like there was serious money that went into the production of this. I feel like that's something you do for a game changer, right? Like something major that is going into the game that is going to change it in a significant way. And this isn't that.
And
So
the idea that they're changing Living World from seasons to sagas, if that's what they think is their game changer, their like new thing,
yeah, it's
I'm
just
not sure that they fulfilled the execution of making that successful, or that they successfully said, "Hey guys, here's what our next big thing is," and it's gonna. And no, it just didn't. It fell flat.
it also with their focus on because they made a big deal out of it while they were doing the interview with the two designers, the two narrative designers. I think they were like, "It's a saga. It's not a
Don't give
season.
me the
It's a
Stacy
saga."
voice though.
All right, and I was like, "Geez, okay, it's a saga, right?" And what that does is it dashes certain expectations. Like we're back to who the hell knows how many episodes we're going to get. We're back to that, right? Right when we had a formula that we knew what to expect,
Right, exactly.
they take us right back to God knows how many episodes are coming out now.
Right, and it's like, okay, so if we're gonna get in this new saga format, we're gonna get surprise content, thrown at us, or it doesn't have to be like just map expansions or story episode or whatever other feature. It feels more like a return to the style of delivery that they used in season 1.
But they won't be deleting content.
But they won't be right. But they won't be deleting content.
And that's the only problem I have with season 1 is the deleting of content. Like, imagine putting resources into something and then deleting it. Like, anyway, But yeah, I agree with you. This is more season one, like how they're augmenting maps instead of adding new maps. And obviously, the reason they're doing that is to help with player population. Like when you add 6 maps into the game, that spreads the player base out. And when people aren't in the same map, they can't talk or interact with each other. So if you put Grathmar Valley in and then you have the map for 2 episodes instead of 1 episode, people are going to spend more time in that map, more time together. It's a good idea.
I like the idea of having an expanding map an expanding map that grows as the season goes on or the saga continues. Because we saw that how it worked with Dry Top and Silver Wastes.
Mm-hmm.
And those, it made exploring those maps, I think, more fun.
Mm-hmm.
Amala brings up in chat that maybe they held too much back with what is exactly different about a saga. They said that they were holding back some surprises, and I feel like if there was a place to not hold back on at least some of the surprises, that would have been the place, especially because they went to the trouble of a live announcement, which
this wasn't the place to hold anything back. No. And it's like Josh makes the point in chat that the community kind of saw this event as like the thing that is going to
save the game or whatever.
Save is a weird word to use, but right. This was seen as a definitive thing. Like this was going to be like what defines the game going forward. And we might have made that expectation for ourselves. That some of the fault is with the community there, but at the same time, this is all Arenanet had around PAX and around this year, right?
And WP in his videos today, in one of the videos today, made the point of we're 6 months on from the layoffs, and to I guess underestimate the effect that can have on human beings, personnel, and a studio in terms of development. I mean, and I've been saying it all along as well. Like, what kind of cadence are you expecting in terms of new content when they're still trying to figure themselves out?
So
another, which then just goes to my point again, is well, then why didn't you just do this through an in-house production instead of renting out a live venue and doing a whole?
Well, and if talking about production cadence and things like that, I don't think so. First of all, the majority of the people who were laid off were working on another project that wasn't even Guild Wars, right? So I don't think it's unfair for us to expect the same production cadence. First of all, they said they would keep the same production cadence. And if we can't trust their word, are they just going to tell us stuff and we're just going to be like, well, that's obviously not true? We have to take them at their word when they say stuff like that. And they said, we're going to roll right from season 4 into season 5. So when they say that, we are now entitled to expect, I know entitled sounds like a dirty word, but you are entitled to expect that if they say that to you, and they did. So I don't think there's anything wrong with us expecting the same release cadence out of them at all, because they said they were going to stick to it. Also, they've been hiring like crazy since the layoffs.
Yes, they have.
So, yeah. I don't think that's fair. There was a tweet that kind of blew up by Matthew Medina, who was one of the people that was laid off. And he was talking about how it's not fair for people to be disappointed with the announcement after what happened in February. And while I agree that you shouldn't hurl abuse or anything like that, or be toxic about this in light of that, I mean, ever, but especially in light of that, I do think it's fine to feel the way you feel about a product as a consumer, right? Like, it is technically, and any individual can make up their mind on this personally, but technically on an unbiased level, it is not your problem as a consumer what happens behind the scenes of a product. It shouldn't affect how you see it or how you feel about it. Your only concern should be, does this product benefit me in the way I want it to? So I think it's perfectly fine to have watched this announcement and been like, wow, there wasn't much PvP or WW stuff here, I'm disappointed. I think that's fine.
especially when players have been hearing things through the online rumor mill, either from devs directly, through in game channels, or in stream channels, that things are in development. So, whatever, if they were holding back on announcing that further or in a larger capacity, it just strikes me as odd. Like you could have
Mhm.
said, "Hey, and this is coming as well," or we're working on such and such thing.
Well, and they
Since
did. They were like,
a lot of things were, when and alliances are coming soon, and this is coming
yeah.
soon.
Hmm. Which and Deo from Talking Straight in the chat makes the point that he's wondering if they rented out the vent as early as before the layoffs.
Yeah,
That's entirely possible because people rent stuff, people book stuff for PAX that early,
sure,
and
absolutely.
busy venues like the Moore Theater often get booked out that early. So that's entirely possible. I don't think it. I think it contextualizes the announcement, but I don't think it changes our. I don't think it changes the way that we should feel obligated to react to the announcement, basically. Because just because you have the venue booked doesn't mean you can't change the content of what you're going to be doing, right?
And I think that if they had booked the venue prior to the layoffs, then obviously their content of the announcement will have changed
Hmm.
because we know
Yeah,
that projects got scrapped.
yeah. They could have booked this for to announce that project.
Sure,
Like that
absolutely.
could have been the purpose of this. So yeah, who knows? Who knows? That is a good point, though.
Mm-hmm.
It probably was booked back that early because, like I said, around PAX time, this stuff gets booked up way in advance. But yeah, so how, like, what's your reaction to the announcement overall?
I I think now that I've had some time to kind of just process it, I'm still I'm still of the mind that they shouldn't have done it as a live announcement.
Hmm.
Um, if they had had a chance to cancel and get their money back or
Yeah,
whatever,
I don't know how any of that works
I
with
don't
stuff
know.
like this.
Think the I think what they announced in terms of we're getting a living world, and it looks pretty cool from what they did show off. It seemed really cool. I like that we're going to go back up to the Charr homelands and to the far Shiverpeaks because those are areas of Guild Wars 1 that I enjoyed playing in. The fact that they're bringing in these strike missions, which are supposed to be like an intro to raids,
Hmm.
with a similar kind of like open world LFG Q pop thing
I'm wondering
to,
how
or
I'm wondering how open world raids are going to work.
I don't
Like,
know. I don't
can
know.
quests
Like, are
can
you gonna
quests
go into an instance area? I mean,
it has to be instanced in some capacity,
because
right?
they talked about like you can take it in as like a full squad of 10, or you could
Yeah.
make it public and allow other players to wander in. So
Okay. So it's
how is
like
that different from like open world dynamic events or bounties?
well, because you can make it private if you want to, I guess. It is the reason. To me, it strikes me as just like how dungeons used to be, where you'd stand outside the dungeon in LFG and then go into the instance.
Mm-hmm.
I, I'm imagining the only thing that really sets these apart with raid that sets these apart from raids is that they're going to be easier.
Yeah.
And if someone does do a public one, you can learn the mechanics in the open world if you just happen by. Like you could be like, okay, we're going to be teaching whatever
Mm-hmm.
that big ice guy, right? So your guild would be like, we're going to do a teaching run. It's going to be open to everybody in the open world because your guild runs this instance all the time. You guys know how to do it, so you teach a bunch of people, and then it spreads.
Which would be
And,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm curious about the rewards for it. There's probably going to be like a specific currency you get from them that you can spend at a specific vendor, because that's how Guild Wars 2 does everything.
Yeah.
Uh, which isn't a bad system. I
No.
like that system. I like systems that make you play a certain type of content to get a certain type of
I
thing.
wonder if they would reward mag shards and let players, or have some sort of exchange.
It'll be a new currency.
I mean, if you're going to try and make them as a stepping stone to raises, which is what they said this was supposed to be.
But if so, this is part of the problem with systems like that. If they give mag shards for not doing raids, why do raids?
Right.
Why?
Yeah,
Like, why
you'd
would
have to
you do?
restrict what you could get from a vendor.
Why would you do it the hard way when you can do it the easy way?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh.
So I would say it's going to be a specific type of currency. But it does sound interesting. It's something more for raiders to do,
Mm-hmm.
right? A lot of raiders reacted positively to Secret Lair of the Snowman, even though it was easy, right?
Yeah.
Just because they were like, "Wow, this is easy raid style
And it's
content." That
fun.
early game mode. I'm imagining Strike Team stuff will be on the level of
Yeah.
Snowman.
And
Maybe
it now makes it feel
maybe a
like
bit harder, but not as hard as raids by any
right.
stretch of the.
And I think they mentioned the Secret Lair of the Snowman yesterday. But it does lead me then now to say, well, they were using that as kind of like a testing ground, as they often do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. And the mechanics are in Secret Lair. They were not. If you were a regular raider, then they weren't difficult.
Well, and that's the thing about the mechanics in these is if these are going to be accessible in the living world by anyone, the mechanics aren't going to get super hairy.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And I think they said that it was going to evolve over time so that you could kind of like scale the difficulty.
That's interesting. I wonder if you're
interesting.
going to be able to trigger like an early phase version of the boss, even when the most recent version exists. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if you can trigger these at different levels, I'm not sure how that's going to work. Right. But it sounds like a fun idea. Like, it could be something we do as a warm up to raid. Like, on raid days, we could meet a half an hour early and do some strike missions as a warm up. You could be like, all right, we raid on Sundays and we do strike missions on Tuesdays.
Mm-hmm.
They're another thing you can involve in collections. They're another thing you can involve in whatever legendary rewards you might want to tie to the season. Like, it's just more. It's a step up in content quality than your generic open world crap, right? So
Josh makes
good.
Yeah, I'm sorry, didn't mean to cut you off. But Josh makes the point that we need some community pillars to step up and teach people the strikes and then wing them into the real ones. And I know that people, it's not just me and Arrow, for example, who are happy to like take raiders through and teach them things.
There's a lot of
other people there are a lot of people out in the community that are willing to do that. So I think that wouldn't be an issue.
There's actually, it's funny because this is something I see on Twitter a lot from some of the experienced raiders I follow, is experienced raiders will actually stealth join training groups because they're more likely to get kills because people are more willing to follow directions. Yeah, that's fascinating to me,
Mm-hmm.
but it makes sense. Like, it makes sense. Yeah, people prefer playing in training groups. People are nicer. People are willing to take direction. People are willing to take constructive criticism, right? Like, yeah, training group, good environment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. So yeah, so I think my overall reaction is I think that they could have probably done away with a live announcement and handled it in-house. Like, they could have done an in-game or an in-studio guild chat, kind of like what they did for Path of Fire.
Yeah, I think the Path of Fire, man. So, and the reason why they didn't do it the Path of Fire way was because Path of Fire didn't sell very well, right? And I think the entirety of Path of Fire not selling well is because they announced the game less than a month before release.
Yeah.
That's
like the way that they did Heart of Thorns. Like, Heart of Thorns hype was real.
And Heart of Thorns sold really well.
And sold really well, yes. And I mean, you and I covered Heart of Thorns from announcement all the way up through release.
I'll admit they announced Heart of Thorns too early, though.
Sure.
Like, the community, like 10 and a half months later, you're just like, can we get a game?
Yeah. But I think because we had that precedent of, well, they've booked a venue for 45 minutes. This is the thing that led us to think, oh, this is going to be big.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm pretty sure we said it even on the previous show. This is going to be pretty important if they're going to go to the trouble of booking something for 45 minutes.
And it wasn't. It was just, hey, we're doing the next Living World season.
And we're like,
of course you are. I know that. I know you're doing that. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, it blows my mind that this is what they came up with. But like we said, they had dev setbacks in February. They've probably got NCSoft breathing down their necks. Who knows how that's affecting them? It's wild. But since you mostly raid, like that's 98% of what you do in the game.
Yeah, nowadays, yes.
Like, how bummed are you that they didn't even mention raids except to say that they're too hard?
Yeah, that's a bit disappointing, to say the least. I don't think I'm as hard bummed as somebody like a Teapot or Nike, because those guys have been doing this content since launch. I mean, I got into raids a year after, and I've always been catching up on progression. Like I'm finally caught up on progression, and that just happened this year.
Mm.
Even though I lead raids as well, take groups through. And I think probably the excitement that I see from people who are now joining our raiding community, wanting to learn raids and are like they're genuinely hyped to learn raids, gives me kind of something to say, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I remember that excitement, and it's kind of adorable.
Yeah.
So for me, it wasn't like, all right, well, I'm more concerned of like, well, what's going to happen to this game now overall, not just the rating part of it, but overall, where are we going?
And it's like we've talked about this formula before about how you have to have, even though the majority of the player base doesn't play the hardcore content, you have to have it there because it is the content that gets spotlighted the most, and the people who play it get spotlighted the most. It's like Arenanet doesn't understand the value of it, and they only look at the engagement numbers, which don't tell you the whole story of how that content affects how people see the game as a whole. And it just like I don't raid very much, right? I raid one time a week on Sunday for a couple hours, but I can still grasp the importance of having top tier content in the game and having it supported, but they just don't seem to be able to.
Yeah, and I think that support goes not just supporting it in game, but supporting the people who are drawing people into your game through that content.
Hmm.
Big criticisms that they got bots tournaments. They supported the amateur rating party.
I mean, to be fair, the reason they didn't support Teapot's tournament was because of the third party camera
Right.
software. I think that I'm not gonna lie to you. I think that's stupid.
Yes.
I think it's an incredibly pedantic reason to not do that.
When you're getting 12K's eyes on your game and
Yeah.
the end game content and at a high quality level for the most part, no.
I mean, and Teapot put out a video to say like, "Hey, I don't want anybody hating on Arenanet
I
because of
know
this."
that, yeah.
I'm not saying like, "Ugh, Arenanet," right? But I
No,
personally
I
think,
think it's personally, I think it was a bad marketing decision on their.
yeah, I just think it was a little bit of a silly reason, like
Because I
really,
mean, right? Because what it does is
he's not abusing that software.
no,
He's using it to create something for the players of the game. Like, yeah.
right. Because spectator cam exists in the game, they just have it set for PvP.
Mhm.
If they had given him an option, which I think they did offer him something that, but they would had
Probably
put
wasn't as good though, and
they
it
had
probably,
they had put restrictions on it that were too much for
yeah.
what he considered making trivializing, I guess, the content, the quality of the tournament.
Well, because they don't care about the quality of the tournament. They're just it's hard to explain, but it's his baby and it's not their baby.
Sure, I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's like got the whole thing planned out and he's like, but I want to switch these angles at these times, and if we have to do this, I want to be able to do this, this, and this.
Sure.
And they're like, I mean, we can give you this. Is that cool? Right?
Yeah.
Like it's that kind of an interaction. And I just wish they could have just been like, you know what? It's okay if you use this software. And they could even be clear about it. They could be like, hey guys, we're not giving the player base permission to use this software, but we're going to allow it in this instance in the interest of what this event is. Like, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not informed on the whole deal. I just thought it was kind of lame, but a little bit off topic.
But no, but I mean, it's things like this. It's supporting your game, and I think the part of the announcement that yesterday's announcement that made me really uncomfortable was the 10-minute merch section. Even though, I mean, I'm a fan of like mouse pads, I thought the phone cases, sure, great. Does this need 10 minutes of a live announcement
It didn't.
when we didn't even get much of game features?
Mm-mm. Yeah, it
So
shouldn't have
that
been.
I thought was, I didn't think that should have been like, no.
It was.
Do another interview. I mean, you had a couple of devs posting on the forums after it to explain more on like the PvP stuff that they basically glossed over in the thing. They could have gotten those devs to come on and talk to them.
And I don't know specifically what those two designers work on, but I'm going to assume they work on Living World because they talked about Living World, right? I think that's safe for me to assume.
Mm-hmm.
I like how much podcasting and being on the internet has taught me to cover myself when I talk about things. Just like, I think it is safe to assume that this is the case.
Yeah.
And then the narrative designers were narrative designers, so they work on story. It would have been great to get some competitive people in an interview, and that would have been a better spot than the 10 minutes of shilling, right?
Well, and especially because those forum posts went up like pretty much right after the announcement ended.
Mm-hmm.
You know, give or take half an hour, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
But if those posts were planned, the devs were obviously thinking about it. You could have given them some stage time to talk a little bit more in depth when people have been clamoring, especially the WDev community, have been like, where's alliances? I mean, they were announced how many months ago, and we're still at they're coming soon. We knew that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think that was a missed opportunity. That's the thing, is that I feel like there were a lot of missed opportunities.
So I was there, right? I was at the for the people who just showed up. I went to the announcement live, and I don't know if you could tell on the stream, but when this guy everything this guy introduced was lesser and lesser applause. Like the applause got weaker and weaker and weaker with each thing until he announced Guild Wars 2 soundtracks on Tidal, and everyone else was just like, Tidal? And the vibe when he came out, because we didn't know what he was going to say, right?
Right.
And then after he announced the first thing, and we're like, oh, this is shilling. The vibe in the room was just weird. Like everyone was just like uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was a very awkward bit of the thing. Yeah, I wasn't into it. The Funkos weren't done. Oreen had gaping, soulless black holes for eyes. That was horrific.
Yeah.
Why would you show that?
Well, there was a lot of things. I mean, and again, I get that they just went through these layoffs. I get that they're trying to like get their mojo back and start getting into their normal development cadence. But they were like talking about things that are coming in like episode 1 or 2, whatever, and they're showing concept art. And I'm like, you have no footage of like, I mean, even like the build templates thing, they didn't show us the UI. They just showed apparently the player changing their gear, and it's like, okay.
I mean, if you think about and I'm so scared of talking about stuff like this because armchair programmers will jump down your throat.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah.
And I'm here like, I don't know how long it takes for a boss to go from concept art to functioning boss. I don't know how long that takes. But if this thing is coming in episode 1 and the prologue is 17th, and we get the same amount of time between episodes, between the prologue and episode 1, this episode should be coming out in December, right?
Which isn't going to happen.
No, it's not. But
because we've got festivals in between there, right?
But that's the expectation we are allowed to have.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
So that would lead me to believe that they can take a boss from concept art to functioning in 4 months. Again, I don't know how many people are working on that boss. I don't know anything.
I mean, the boss for the strike missions looked kind of cool.
It did. The ice
and I was like, "Oh, that looks nice." And it was good to see that's obviously further along in development if they're giving us some gameplay footage.
Yeah, and I think that because that guy's cold, right? And we're in the
Yeah.
Grothmar Valley for this prequel, so the cold guy is going to be in episode 1 in the Shiverpeaks, right? So it could just mean that they're working on different parts of this episode at different times, right? And that boss that they said was still concept art could also be episode 2, maybe, because Drakkar Lake is very far north, like super far north. And if they take the prologue and episode 1 and go and put those both in the Charr homelands, then we're not seeing the Shiverpeaks until episode 2, right? So that's all entirely possible. Like Chad is saying, I say I don't know a lot, but you have to, guys. You don't understand what it's like. You have to say that you don't know before you talk about things involving computers, or else actual nerds will come to your home and pull your tongue out through your mouth and then feed it to you again.
Escalated quickly. But,
Yeah.
But no, yeah.
I have internet PTSD, guys.
I get that. Yeah, no, but yes, I was surprised that we were shown concept art. It basically came off, which is something that WP made, a point he made in one of his videos. It felt like it wasn't, just unpolished, not ready. A lot of things are just not really ready to be shown, and yet they were showing it, trying to instill some sort of confidence in the community that, hey, they're on it. We know we're not abandoning the game. We are working on it. It's like, well, yes.
But somehow they've achieved the opposite, though.
Exactly.
So here's the problem with it is they think like, oh, if we tell them we're working on it, that'll renew confidence. Not when you've already said that 6 months ago. When you're saying the same thing now that you were saying 6 months ago, that does the opposite. Like, that worries us. We like, progress is great. Like, for the alliances, they've been working on this for 2 years, right? If alliances are still not even in a state where you can show us something, that's bad. If you've been working on it for that long, again, I don't do computer stuff, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say that's bad, right? I don't know. I bet that system has been scrapped and redone from scratch multiple times. Speaking of which, they did do minor competitive announcements. Again, we already knew about Swiss coming to PvP, so that's not really new.
No.
We didn't know about the mini seasons, as far as I'm aware.
No, that was actually kind of interesting.
Now, I was sitting with Kit the Traveler when we were watching this, and I said this to her on the way out. I was like, what is the point of seasons if you just have smaller seasons in between seasons?
Right, like if it gives you like some, I don't know what the point of it is. Like, what's going to be happening in the season? How are they going to be? Because you need to make them different, right?
Yeah.
So how are they going to be different? There's a lot that was just like, it's just odd.
Yeah, I don't know why we need mini seasons. Just
like, I get that they were like, some of the things were like couched in like some kind of like generalized, vague marketing speak. But when you're kind of too vague and generalized, it doesn't, all you just leave is confusion in your wake, and you leave yourselves open to critique.
Like, imagine trying to explain this to a new player. Be like, okay, so right now it's season 18 of Guild Wars 2 PvP, right? And then on XYZ date, we're going to get a mini season, and then there's going to be season 19, and they're like, whoa, back up. What is a mini season? And you're like, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. So, it's I don't think we need those. I think people just want better people. Here's the thing. People don't even hate how seasons work in PvP right now. It's not broken, right? They hate how tournaments work. So they want Swiss, which is happening, right? And they hate the balance, which you could work on more, right? If you maybe split balance between all the game modes completely and then just had a PvP balance team. Wow. Balance patches all the time. But people don't care about the downtime between seasons. Like, it's not a big deal.
So, you know? Right. So one of the posts that they posted yesterday to clarify the information that they announced at the announcement, mini season. We're currently here. Let me see if I can get this to pull up. Because this will just be folks, I gotta pull
Chat makes the point that people want more rewards too. I personally think SPVP is over rewarding. I think it's ludicrously rewarding. But if you mean exclusive rewards, they did announce that new exclusive armor set for competitive modes, and it's ugly. So that's fun. Did you see the armor set on the?
I didn't see it.
They showed a picture of it on the live stream.
Okay.
It's so bad. It's so bad. So yeah, that was a little disappointing. Some decent exclusive rewards for competitive would be cool.
So here is what we're talking about: mini seasons. We're currently planning on experimenting with mini seasons with alternate game modes, 2v2, 3v3, etc., during what would normally be off-season time. The key tech we're missing for this is currently getting additional rating types, as we currently only have ranked and unranked. We don't feel it's appropriate for your 2v2, 3v3 rank to have any bearing on your conquest rank. We don't have a time frame for that change, however. It's something we're very interested in doing. Having conquest seasons not overlapped with ranked queue for other game modes alleviates most of the concerns we have for splitting the population base. Aaron, unexplain that for me.
No, I'm lost too.
Okay.
I only play ranked conquest. I don't play unranked. And I don't do 2v. I know there's a couple 2v2 maps in there. I don't do 2v2. And I don't do stronghold. So nobody does stronghold. So yeah, I don't really know what that entails, but I'm sure it'll be a thing you can do in 2021. So when that happens, we'll talk.
2021 is 2 years away.
I know. Yeah, look at the alliance system.
Yeah, this is.
Back in 2017, I was saying, "Oh, we'll get that in 2019," like it was a hilarious meme, and here we are, and it's not even shown yet. So, yeah, it might have been early 2018 that they announced the alliance system, but it was definitely early.
Josh points out that it's not perfect, but it's better, and it's not total silence. I appreciate that they're communicating this.
There's the thing, though. Arenanet hasn't been totally silent on things for a long time.
No,
I think we need to stop giving the and again, guys, please don't go hate on Arenanet publicly. No. Please don't go tweet at Arenanet and be toxic. But we need to stop giving them applause for the bare minimum.
No, I think.
Can you stop that?
I think this just is this vagary is it's a clarification that's not clear. 2v2 and 3v3. Okay, so off-season time for more, I guess, for the hardcore set. I don't know.
So
okay.
I don't know what that means.
A place where you can hone your skills if you want to in a smaller grouping.
I just don't know what that means for 2v2 and 3v3 during the main season.
Right.
Do they turn rewards for that off during the main season? I don't know what that means. I think if you want to eliminate people not playing a PvP, just don't have downtimes between seasons. Just reset it at a certain date so people can start progressing again. I don't know. Also give people more of a reason to rank climb than just badges. The badges are stupid and nobody ever displays them and nobody cares about them. Imagine if you got an item because you hit gold.
See, things like this put me back into the discombobulated, baffled state that I was in yesterday after the announcement, where I just sat there and I just kind of went, I feel like I'm shell-shocked and I don't know what my response should be.
You look shell-shocked. Do you have this face you make? You're just
I'm I don't understand. I just don't see what I get that they're trying to alleviate, but it's not working. All this does is make me worry. How about that? It makes me worry for the future of the game.
I'll give you something to worry about. So you know how they're finally bundling Heart of Thorns with POF. I believe they're doing it permanently.
Yes.
I think from now on, when you buy POF, you get everything.
Yes.
What that tells me is that they will never make another expansion for this game.
See, and I read that you put that into the show notes, and it reminded me of when they bundled the core game into Heart of Thorns. Like, they made it free.
Mm-hmm.
So they have this precedent where they've done this before.
Okay.
So it doesn't make me worried that we won't get an expansion. I just don't think we're going to be getting an expansion in the next year. Obviously, they're not ready. They're trying to like sell us on the fact that they're ready for season 5, which they're calling a saga now. So Saga 1. But
So if they do make an expansion, I think they should bundle POF and HOT into that and just do the one expansion. You get all expansion products. And that would be a better model going forward. I've said for a long time that the amount they space out their pricing is hurting how much people buy. And if people know that they're getting 3 X packs for one price when they buy a new one, they're much more inclined to buy it. And just being able to get all your hands on all the content at one time, it makes it easier for you to make a buying decision. Deo dated and pointless. I think they are still viable financially because of how players view games, though.
Right, I agree with that, because you still see you still hear players saying expansion, new DLC, etc., etc. So they're still in that mode, even though the technology is progressing perhaps away from it.
I would agree that technically, in terms of what you can achieve through game updates, delivery method doesn't matter. Like a Living World season is the same amount of content as expansion, and we get it in the same time frame, right? They're both expansions. I personally consider each Living World season a viable expansion, except season 2 because it's not enough. But people get more hyped for Guild Wars 2 Heart of Thorns expansion than they do about Living World Season 5, the Icebrood Saga. They just do. So I just think financially it's still viable.
I think if they are if they are attempting to try a different model,
well, we saw the earnings report. They finally gotten Living World to a point where it earns a steady income.
Yeah. And Lemon Lord points out in chat, when is the living season going to be free? I mean, if you own the expansion, you get it for free. You unlock it, even if you don't have.
Living Story is free.
Yeah, it's always free. If you missed out on unlocking it, came out, right? You don't have a paid expansion or whatever.
It's
like 200 gems off of the trading post or for the gem store.
I do hate that they do this though. It's not very expensive. A Living World season. It's not very expensive, but it is a pain in the ass to figure out A, that you need to get it, and B, how to get it. That's a huge leap for new players to make. Because you're a new player, you come in, you're like, all right, I bought the game and all the X packs, right? I'm ready to go. And then I'm here on my Twitch stream, like, actually, hold up.
No, you
have Living World Season 2, 3, and 4 to get to the complete product. And they're like, oh my fucking God, really? Like, it's such a huge hurdle after you've already purchased the game.
Mm-hmm.
I hate.
Yeah, if they could figure out a way, or if they could just make the decision to, like, if you buy whatever Path of Fire, you're gonna get included in that price, not just Heart of Thorns, but the seasons that came between.
Season 2 and 3 come with Heart of Thorns, and then season 4 comes with Path of Fire. That is how they should do it, but they insist on nickel and diming people, and I don't think it works. Honestly, I don't think they're seeing. I mean, I haven't seen what they make off of Living World season sales, right? But I think the goodwill of bundling them with X-Packs would go further than whatever amount of money they make from selling the Living World on the gem store. Because I think 90% of people that play Living World get it for free on unlock day.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think they do that the wrong way.
The thing that I was curious about whether they were going to try and move towards, which I guess part of me wasn't surprised to hear them say that they're not going to be moving to a sub-fee model, because that's been the approach for the franchise, for the company since Guild Wars day one. But at the same time, they're pushing a lot of gem store stuff more heavily now, which feels is probably my assumption. Like it could be an NCSoft influence saying, you know, shill more, because you need that revenue stream. It's getting to the point where I feel like they're getting a bit too heavy-handed, and probably I know that's what my problem is with the last 10 minutes of the announcement yesterday.
I know I sound like a lunatic conspiracy theorist most of the time when I talk about the gem store, but I genuinely think that they need to temper what they're doing with player, like the mental health of their player base. Like, I get, and before the White Knights come out, all right, I get that they need to make money. I understand that. I understand why the gem store exists. It's fine. But when every week we're seeing some new machination on how to get money out of us, it wears on a lot of players. It wears on you psychologically, and it makes you not want to log in sometimes. It makes me not want to log in all the time.
And I get stuff off the gem store only if I want to.
Yeah. I don't spend money. I haven't spent money in the gem store in a long time.
And I think if you're a person who is susceptible to marketing and feel like your life is being impacted, like I have to get this new thing because it's on sale now, you know, you'll get it for 3 more days, which is stuff that they do in the gem store. They put those tags on it. So yeah, I'm worried. I mean, it goes into like the whole psychology of addictions that, you know, is part of the conversation with loot boxes. It's a thin line, and I'm worried about them crossing it. It's still something that I'm worried about them crossing.
So RDA Kansas in chat says the game's gem store doesn't bother me because there's no actual upgrades or power creep in it. I love these because you're wrong. I love these. Okay. There's level 80 boost in it, and there's a waypoint unlock in it. Those
are not power creep though.
Those are both objectively buying gameplay. Objectively, you can't be argued. And you can buy money.
Waypoints unlock
money. You can buy gold with money. Yes, that's more toxic than any pay-to-win thing in the whole store. So yeah, I'm sorry, but it's not true. It's not true.
Aaron has feelings about this.
I hate it when people say that because it's not true.
We have a slight disagreement on this because Waypoint Unlock gives you free travel access in the game.
I know. You should have to go and explore to get that. You shouldn't be able to buy that on the gem store.
I agree with you in that because I think that exploration is valid in learn the damn game. But for players that just want to roll in and start doing the end game content, I can see where that would be like, all right, well, I can just, you know, do this.
I don't think you should be able to roll in and start doing end game content. Do you want a fresh player in your raid group? Someone bought the game yesterday, level 80 boosted. Do you want that guy in your raid group? I don't. We've
had him, and we go, wait, what gear are you using? Oh, soldier's gear? Okay, here's what you actually need to be in a raid.
Yeah. And then of course they say go play some SWOTOR or something like that. They have a worse shop. Sure, they have a worse shop. It's fine. Sure, no, it doesn't mean what Guild Wars 2 does is okay. Just because something else has a worse shop doesn't make it okay in Guild Wars 2 to do the same things to a more limited degree. That's a horrific counter argument, and you need to stop using it.
You know, and the argument that I've heard repeatedly is that, yeah, like you said, Guild Wars 2 does it in a less offensive way. Let's use that phrase. And while that may be the case, it's, again, maintaining that balance so that you're not crossing over, and how far is too far. This gets us off topic from what the announcement was. My point was that I was upset about or bothered by the merch shill at the end when we could have been getting devs on to talk about stuff that they had just glossed over, which I think is where they should have put their entire focus on. It was just let the devs come in and talk about the game. Because that's what players wanted to hear, not about the Funko Pops, even however cool people are and more excited people are about the Funko Pops and like the mouse pads or whatever. You know, the for fans, by fans, I get it. Yeah, that merch is cool. I love merch, but I didn't want to tune in for a 45-minute stream and hear 10 minutes shilling on merch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I could have read it in a blog post and that would have been sufficient. Let me put it that way.
it was a bad look when the game designers that they were interviewing were like, oh, and we've got alliances coming, but we'll talk about that in a couple months. And then they bring a guy on to talk about products for 10 minutes. It's just a bad look, and it leaves a bad taste in everybody's mouth.
So the dude, the VP of marketing, who's the guy Dave brings up as being an NCSoft, not an Anet guy, they brought him in. I want to say he's the one who came over from Square Enix. He's the one who, his first, I think, major campaign was the player quotes, social media. Remember that?
I do. Yeah.
That was, yeah. And I think that was one of his first major things. He's had some interesting marketing campaigns. I'm not going to say that they've been bad. There have been some that I've been like, I disagree with that move, but okay, I see what you're trying to do. Whether or not he was NCSoft or Anet, to me, they're kind of one and the same. And at this point, we know that NCSoft is pushing them. And there have been things that they've put into the game that feel very NCSoft to me, in terms of how heavy-handed, shilly they are, the shillery. Yeah. But it doesn't make me feel any better that they glossed over content that they could have brought devs to talk about. They could have used those final 10 minutes a little bit more wisely. Again, that's my point.
Like I said, I don't want to talk it in circles, but they could have brought on a couple competitive designers and talked about actual competitive plans.
I mean, they went through the trouble of doing the forum posts. Great place to have it, but you could have brought them on and say, hey guys, here's what we're talking about, here's what we're doing, blah, blah, blah. For more information, we're going to have some threads up on the forums later today or whatever, and used the announcement as a segue into that to continue that conversation. I just think there were missed.
And again, with the marketing spiel they gave in light of the more heavy-handedness with the gem store in the game lately, and the impact that's having on some players, not all players, but the impact it's having on some players psychologically, this just is an extra punch in a pile of punches, And it's, I was just sitting there the whole time, pretty much. Yeah.
All right. But I feel like we're just kind of talking in circles now, saying the same thing. So why don't we spend? Because I know you've got to meet up with Agent Kit.
I do.
To go hang with them. So
we're gonna go all the stuff we just talked about. I'm gonna go talk about that with Agent Kit with alcohol, though.
All right, take pictures. Let's talk about this. The trailer. We haven't talked about the trailer, and this is the thing, right?
The trailer, not the cutscene. The trailer.
Do the trailer first, and we'll do the cutscene.
Yeah. The trailer is a step up in production value for them. They've never done something this
cool.
Yeah.
So if there's anything that you're going to be excited about what they talked about yesterday or announced yesterday, I would say that the trailer is pretty dope.
Oh, I'm excited for Living World, Icebrood Saga. I love Living World. I play every episode. I do all the achievements. I do all of it. I love Living World. I'm actually not super disappointed with this announcement overall because I like Living World. And the trailer was really cool.
You do not fear death. You fear something far worse. You fear outliving the ones you swore to protect. You fear the day your children no longer feel the chill of the frost or the warmth of the flame. It is this fear that is your enemy, not I. The prison in which all races of Tyria suffer. But you need not fear me, champion. For I can set you free. Join me, and you shall have the strength to protect your people in the trials to come. Stand against me, and you stand alone.
It's quality stuff. That's easily the most quality like video production they've ever made.
Mm-hmm. It's cool.
It's artistically, visually, it's in the style of the like Oreen Vision cutscenes we get, and some of the dungeon cutscenes we got at Core. Like it's in that artistic style, but it's fully animated, like frame by frame animated, not just stop motion like they like to do a lot, but it is frame by frame, fluidly animated.
Yeah.
It's a step up.
It's so good. It is really good. I mean, I like the Norn. I'm kind of down with the charr, so this is good.
It's definitely gonna have, it gives off the impression that it's gonna have some of the most flavor of any dedicated thing, right? Heart of Thorns was jungly, and it had a bit of, the highlight gave a bit of that kind of native, like jungle natives flavor, right? I don't want to say like the not politically correct way of saying people who lived in the jungle, but
right, the Aboriginal jungle people, is that what you're trying to say? Yeah, it gave that flavor. And so now we're getting this, this raw nature of
and I want to see, and what I get out of this is mostly like Jormag and Icebrood in this trailer, right? But what they show before, like the Kodan sending out their dead on the lake and the centaurs with the human slaves and stuff, they inject the right level of cultural flavor with each of those shots. And what that tells me is, even if this season isn't necessarily about centaurs or ships or whatever, is that they're going to keep that level of cultural dedication to the Norn and the charr as we progress through this story.
I did like seeing the Kodan bit, because the Kodan, poor things, they're even more ignored than the Tengu are. And
they're going to be integral. They have to be if we're
going up there, so we have to hear about the Kodan.
The Kodan are going to be the Olmecon of this season. I'm also interested to see if we get to see Olmecon interact with like traditional charr. That would be cool.
Because we didn't see, there's that one shot with Ritlock and Sohathan, so he's picked it back up after his Requiem story. He's got Bram on his left, and then the female Norn, who is Jorah's descendant.
Is that confirmed? Who confirmed that? I never heard that.
It came out on, I think, Reddit. It's a player that's in, and I believe Tom Abernathy confirmed it on Twitter.
I just thought it was the new commander.
No, it's supposed to be the NPC who shills for the Vigil in Gandaren and Holbrack.
So they just picked this person and they're like, you're a character now?
And she's been in game. So, I mean, if we're going to go fight Jormag...
That's so funny. Next season, they're going to be like, this guy is the merchant from Brisbane Wildlife.
What kind of makes me... It's like, if we're going to... if they're going to make her an integral part of, like, Destiny's Edge 2.0, what are they called? Dragon's Watch? Like, what happened to Canuck? Where's Jory? What happened to Casimir? These are characters that, have been around. It's like,
and that we enjoy. And they're just like, you remember this merchant from the Vigil Keep?
Rox, who's supposed to be going off with the Olmecon, if we're going to be getting more charr, is she going to be part of the story?
I wonder if we'll leave Rox behind. If she'll just be like, yeah, she lives at the Omicron now. Like, she's done. Like, what if her story's over?
Poor Rox, I ain't gonna lie. Poor Rox has been left behind, she's been left behind years ago.
She's not exactly a fan favorite. She's probably the least, like...
They've never developed her.
Yeah, she's probably the least, like, cared about of any of the Destiny's Edge 2.0 characters.
Yeah. But the Norn following Raven, that was cool.
Yeah, and Chat mentioned earlier that they confirmed during the interviews that we're going to hear about the missing spirits of the wild.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I never really cared about that. But hey, I'm sure it'll be interesting.
And it's Norn.
Yeah. Norn definitely have a more mysterious culture than... Not mysterious, but, like, we haven't dived into it like we've dived into... Like, we know humans to death.
Yeah.
Right?
And, like, the Norn haven't really gotten any attention, really, since Eye of the North.
The Sylvari have gotten all the attention since launch. Much. And they have mentioned all this in the interview too. In the interview, they were like, it's kind of time. Also, the Asura have gotten a lot of attention too, because Asura are like the hacker nerd in movies, where there's always one of them involved. Yeah.
We just always get them through like Goric and Timey generally. Yeah.
And Quest are always the bad guys in everything in some capacity. So yeah, the Asura have gotten a lot of focus in that regard too. So yeah, the Charr and the Norn are definitely a little more neglected.
So WP in his video threw out the theory that, that ship that they showed, the Norn going down and saying that this might be a way to segue into the Deep Sea Dragon.
It could be. Yeah. They need to, so this was actually a question, this was kind of a big story question this announcement did answer, was, are we going to continue with the whole Elder Dragon thing? And the answer is yes. We are. And that means we're presumably going to tackle the remaining 3. I think the point of season 4 was to give us a free out to be able to just kill Elder Dragons. Now that we have Aurene functioning as an Elder Dragon, we can just murder Elder Dragons. It will.
I think we would need to bring on some other dragon bibis to or dragon recruits to help.
I genuinely think this though. I think that when they're like, oh, Aurene is different. She's not the same, right? It means she can just Elder Dragon the whole planet, and we don't need the we don't need
the Canthan dragons.
My question now is
never gonna get Cantha.
Are we gonna help, or are we on our own here?
Right.
Is she just gonna be like, you guys got this, I got Elder Dragon things to do, but I believe in you? Right. Or is she gonna come help? Like, I don't know how it's gonna go.
She'll be like, you guys go take care of this, I gotta do my thing. I'll see you on Saturday, maybe.
I like how we start talking about story stuff and the walls of text just start happening in the chat. Just story theory after story theory. I'm sure they're all good, guys, but there's not enough time to read all of
them. And then the other thing that we got was the cutscene, which I do want to show off. And the cutscene was coming from the prologue, so this is something that we're going to be seeing in a couple of weeks. When we meet up with.
Okay. Yeah, I really like this cutscene.
Bear with me because I've got this timestamped and
tempers flare between old acquaintances.
I'm here now. Nobody wants you here. Come. You're the one who ordered me here. Sentimentality. For a second, I forgot what you really are. Your tribune. My disappointment. Good thing your cub had me for a father. Look whose fangs finally came in.
Ritlock kind of loses his shit, man.
Ritlock, here's the thing about Ritlock. Like, I don't think he feels super beholden or affiliated with the Legion anymore. I don't think he cares. He's like, dude, I'm Ritlock. Like,
right, and I mean, even in the Requiem story, he always talked, or in the Requiem story, they do talk about how he's never really felt that connection to the legions. It was always more like he felt like he needed to prove himself.
yeah. And now that he's like, dude, I've been on countless Elder Dragon killing missions. I've participated in the taking down of every major villain in the history of this world since I've been alive. Like, who are you? Like, he's literally looking at the Blood Legion Imperator and going, who are you?
Yeah.
He doesn't care. He's over it. Like, he's just like, dude, this is small potatoes. I don't care.
The whole, it's a good thing your cubs had me for a father. I was like, dude, when did the charr even start caring about their kids?
Right, yeah, that's kind of a weird threat. Like, I'm sure, like, as a parent, right? I'm sure, like, you want to care, like, as a charr, right? Because they have to leave their kids behind, so. But I'm sure every charr who has a kid is just like, oh, man, dude, I don't know, you know? But then they do it because it's what you do. But Ritlock, being kind of a lone wolf type of person who does what he wants, now that he's making this break with the legions, and he's like, dude, this really isn't me, man. Maybe he starts to think to himself, why can't I know my kids? You know, I don't follow this bullshit, right?
The question that the narrative devs threw out was like, do we need a new Conur? I was like, I've always been saying that the next Conur should be Ritlock.
I don't think Ritlock wants to do that, though.
But wouldn't he be awesome? And if he got to the place where he actually became the Conur, that'd be cool.
I don't see.
It would be better than like some rando charr coming along and say, "Oh, here's the Conur." Oh,
I don't think Rox is the right fit for that, is she? And well, the only two major charr characters. We have three major charr characters. We have Almora, Soulkeeper, Ritlock, and Rox. Right? Out of those three,
and Smodor. Don't forget Smodor.
And Smodor, yeah, he's not a major character. Get out of here. And out of those three characters, I don't think Rox fits. Almora or Ritlock could do it, but I don't think Almora. She's not major enough, right?
Plus, I think she's pretty happy with the Vigil and the PAX.
I think she is, yeah. And I just don't see Ritlock caring enough to take that role, you know?
I think something major would have to happen.
But they can't just write in, make up a character to do that either. It's too big of a thing.
Right. So
I don't know what they're going to do. They could make Ritlock. It could be a decision they make. It's possible.
The Imperator, I've seen in chat someone mentioned Ritlock, and the thing that I thought yesterday was like, that charr kind of looks like the art that they had for the Requiem story of Ritlock. He kind of has that different kind of charry face that isn't charry like and looks more.
You're talking about the Blood Legion Imperator?
Yes, him. Mm-hmm.
He looks like Scar from Lion King.
Thank you. See, I knew there was like some kind of call. I'm like, I feel like this looks like a lion, and
not
I've
even
this
like a little bit
before, like a lot.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like very much so. Like it's not even vague. It's like, oh, you designed him based on Scar. Gotcha. Okay.
But no, I'm gonna be interested to see how that like whole scene plays out, because I kind of like seeing Ritlock lose it.
I like the
raw emotion. It suits him.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's
so
his whole character. Yeah, that's his whole character. Is I'm angry and I hit things.
But
that's
I mean, he's usually like gruff, but like, and he fights, but in a battle. Here he's like in a like fisticuffs bar brawl almost.
He would totally get in fights though. He gets in fights all the time.
Yes, but we never see them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, because we've always got him on a leash. Like, but I like Chat's idea. Actually, it's not going to happen, but I like Chat's idea of Evan Nashblade for Connor.
Evan Nashblade's history is also. I would like to know more about.
But here's what I like about Evan Nashblade. He's smart.
But right? You know what? If he'd become the Connor, he'd be shilling more stuff out to people, and I don't know about that.
But the thing about Ritlock is that he's a moron. He's so stupid.
He's a soldier, right? That's his thing.
He's not cut out for leadership.
That's fair.
Like, you could say he is because he makes decisions, and he does. Like, if there's a decision to be made, he will make it, which in many ways makes him an effective leader, if maybe not always a correct one. But I think in positions of mass leadership like that, like political positions,
Right.
I think you need to favor intelligence. And
Evan would kind of be like that political cat.
Yeah, it would. I don't think Ritlock has the brain for being the leader of a nation. Of a military squad, sure. Right? But not a political figure.
Evan is the Conor, it just doesn't sound as...
And I know the charr favors strength too. Like, that's what they see. So, like, would the charr, I know it's not a voted position. You have to have the little thing, right? But would the charr follow Ritlock? Yeah, probably. Because they follow strength, you know? They probably would follow him. I just don't agree with that mentality. But there's the charr for you.
There's a charr for you. So this will be interesting. I'm looking forward to the living world. I will say that.
And chat makes the point that the commander was going to leave Dragon's Watch to Ritlock, which I'd probably do too. There's leave it to anyone else. Like, you imagine being like, Casimir, I want you to lead the guild, right? Like
the hiccups. The first
Bram
time
is like Bram is genuinely dumb, like not just like
he's
not
like a dumb
super
kid
smart,
still. That's why.
but he's actually like he would be.
Now here's something that they brought up in the announcement yesterday, that Bram failed with the whole quest and the breaking of the tooth and going after Jormag. And I was like, we put him to sleep. That's why dude came back.
Okay, so again, guys.
Tooth. So like, how is that? Like, how you're trying to like retcon something that we played through and is like a major part of the story?
I don't think they're retconning this. I think those two writers don't know their own story.
Hey, I would hope that they would, because everything else that was okay. It was just that I was like,
they can't retcon it because it's in the game.
I know.
You can't retcon something that you actually play in the game. So, guys, what we're talking about is when they're doing the narrative design interviews, one of the people said, like, so when Brad was trying to kill Jormag, he failed spectacularly, right?
Yeah.
And he didn't.
No.
He literally had Jormag on the ropes, and we called it off. And that is the only reason he didn't go for the kill. And for them to
he did like he I remember it coming out in game that he was losing people, like it was like major battle, and then Timey put Jormag to sleep.
Yeah, but it doesn't necessarily mean he failed. We put a stop to the fight.
So how is that an epic fail? Because that's how they were like painting it yesterday, and I was like,
I just felt like that was a slip up on their part yesterday. So I was like, that's not what happened.
Hope so, because if they're gonna try and change gameplay that we've played through, I'm gonna be like, what, guys? But my story journal says.
And chat says they thought of it as the Norn not knowing why Bram couldn't kill Jormag, but that's not how the designers presented it in the interview, and it made it sound like they didn't know their own game. You know, and that's not a good
that was the one thing that I was kind of like, well, that was many, but it was one of the story-wise, I was like, no, that's not what happened. That's not how it went down.
That's just, it wasn't a good look. I don't know if they misspoke or what, but that wasn't a good look.
But I am hyped about the Icebrood Saga. I am excited to get into it. I think it was more the announcement itself that I was disappointed by.
Josh says, to be fair, there were system devs. No, they weren't. These were narrative designers. That was the narrative designer team interview. They weren't system devs.
It was the narrative team that said that. Narrative devs.
But I actually, like, I've talked about this before. I'm not super into the story or the lore or anything like that. The thing that I get excited for with Living World is the new maps and new achievement metas to do and new map completion. And the fact that it's all going towards a new legendary I can craft at the end of the season, right? That's mostly what makes me excited about Living World is the actual gameplay. So that's what I'm pumped about, is just getting new content to go through.
Chat is pointing out that they took it as being in the eyes of the Norn, Bram failed. I can see that. Maybe,
but that's
not what the sentence was that came out of their mouths.
And I don't
see. I agree with the chat's.
Like, do we have that? Like, that's an idea, but do we have that confirmed in the game that the Norn view Bram as a failure? Because I didn't get that impression. Yeah,
No, we just never
I
like
think
Bram just
there's
showed
a
up.
lot of there's a lot of inference there. I feel like.
Bram just showed up, and I mean, if that's what they're gonna be playing into that gap in in-game knowledge for the players or the commander, then okay, fair.
Sorry, I'm reading the chat.
Yeah, I know. Talking loud in front of 30K people can make you slip up. Yes, this is true.
Oh my god. Sorry, I'm not going to read what they say in
That's
chat,
fine.
but it's really funny.
But yeah, so you're excited?
Yeah,
about the
I'm excited
story
for new
itself?
Living World stuff. I like Living World again just for the constant flow of new stuff to do. I know a lot of more hardcore players are like, "Ugh, it barely qualifies as content," right? I disagree. I think it's good content. It's just I'm disappointed in the lack of focus on competitive and hardcore content in the announcement. That's pretty much it. Excited for what they did announce, bummed about what they didn't announce.
Correct. That's how I felt. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is the part of the show where we just remind you of that there are anniversary sales going on because the game turned 7 years old.
Yeah, that's true. I still haven't opened my birthday presents.
At the Victory Rock.
Ooh.
It's I don't know, for a chair. Not what I was expecting, but okay. I'll still use my Doom chair, but because Heart of Thorns is now included with Path of Fire, if you already own Heart of Thorns, you should have gotten a mail with HOT Veterans Pack, a free skin.
Which skin did you grab?
The Glint glowing mask, because I was still missing it.
I did the Crimson Gaze mask.
I already had that one.
All the other skins in there suck.
I love the eye ones. The glowy gaze masks are cool.
Yeah.
So I picked up the Glint one, and then you get the free Mordrum glider skin, which is an okay glider.
It's an incredibly ugly glider.
I'll leave it to you. And then in the gem store, you can get a free Heart of Thorns t-shirt outfit. This is essentially the same one as the Dragon Emblem, Guild Wars Dragon Emblem outfit and the Aurene one. It's just a different t-shirt. Got the HOT logo on it.
Yep. So now we have a brigade of khaki shorts.
I want the one that I still want is the one that was I guess it was data mined, or I'm not even sure if it was even available at one point. The schoolgirl outfit. That one I want.
There's a schoolgirl outfit.
Yes. Go to the wiki. It's yes, it was a thing that never came in game or something. I don't know. It was data mined or something. It's very anime, and that's why I want it.
Monka S.
Anyway, so that's the gem store stuff that we're gonna tell you about. If you want information on any other sales going on, just press O.
Gotcha.
And then the other thing that we're going to close out with is Virtually Interrupted, the successor site to Guildmag. We are finally launched, virtuallyinterrupted.com. Aaron, can you put that into chat?
Yeah.
And TyriaNow, is part of the VI family. So if you're looking for our podcast episodes, we're still going to be uploading them to our personal TyriaNow YouTube channel. But we will also be cross-posting them as podcast posts on the VI website. We are just waiting for approval for the iTunes podcast and Google Play listings. But you can now get audio files. So if you don't want to watch our weird shows, you can just listen to them. You've got I've put the posts up as audio files only, and also downloadable MP3s. So if you want the audio, they're available for you on virtuallyinterrupted.com. Just look for the TyriaNow section on the navigation bar. It's Guild Wars 2, and then we've got a drop down for TyriaNow, or just scroll down the page. The latest episode of TyriaNow will always be on the front page, and then the previous episodes will be linked underneath as well. Are featured there, so there you go. Another place for people to find us.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
But
Yeah, I think you got some articles and guides posted on there already,
Yep.
right?
If you want a level 5, if you know, because Ascended Cooking is now in the game, level 500. If you're not sure how to go about it, we've got a guide that just released today. Amala spent a nice bit of time with some awesome information that Jalinar from Chronicles of Tyria put together. So he did a good part of the research and then shared it with us. And then Amala went in and did her collection as well and wrote up the guide for everyone. So thank you, Amala. She is in chat. Thank you very much. So you can get that on Virtually Interrupted. It is currently one of our featured posts, so it's right up on the top of the homepage.
Have you done 500 cooking yet?
I have not. I haven't even finished my sky skill. What are you
I was
talking
gonna say,
about? Come on.
as a raid leader, it is your responsibility to get
I have
500
to do
cooking
this. I know. I
and
gotta
provide
get
us with sweet and spicy feasts on a raidly basis.
Gotta get on it.
Yep.
I've got
Free food if you join Miko's group.
I've got a culinary application or culinary use of bloodstone bricks because I need to get rid of all of the bloodstone dust in my bank and material storage. It is insane.
Just start deleting it. Start deleting bloodstone dust.
You can do it. You need it for the leveling of the thing.
Do you need pure dust or can you use bricks?
Bricks. So I need to make bricks.
Thank God.
Make bricks. Make bricks.
I got bricks for days.
I don't have bricks for days. I could make bricks for days, but I just leave it all as dust and then it accumulates.
That's what you do. Yeah, you take all your dust and you make it into bricks until you have a stack. And then since you could never feasibly use a stack of bloodstone bricks ever, you just start deleting dust. Life hack. Mm-hmm.
I know, I've got to do the big brain strategy instead of just clogging up my bank.
Too much raiding, not enough bloodstone dust.
I know. The other thing that you can get out of that Ascended Cooking collection is basically a salvage kit for food. This I like because it's going to clear, I kid you not, it's going to clear an entire bank pane in my bank.
Nice.
Just food that has been sitting there and I'm like, well, maybe I'll level a character and they could use it, and then I forget. So, you know.
That way if you have a bunch of one food and there's a food you need to make and the food you have could be used to make that food.
Yeah, it composts into some item that Amala mentioned, and I read her guide. It's enhancements or something like that. So it basically turns into an ingredient that you can use into more cooking stuff.
Cool. That's actually a good idea.
Yeah, I was kind of pleased to see that.
Yeah.
And it looks like an interesting unlock process. Collections that it goes through.
Yeah, for sure.
And there is some time gating, but it's only 2 hours.
Awesome.
All right, Aaron, you got anything else?
I haven't streamed for 2 weeks, but I should be starting up again soon. While I'm working on finding an apartment, it's been tough to stream because the nights where I can stream, I would rather just sit on the couch and eat ice cream.
It's Haagen-Dazs?
Yeah, exactly. So once I get
Top is healthier.
What?
Halo Top is healthier.
I don't like Halo Tops. It's gross.
It's so good.
I need authentic sugary calories. All right. I don't want that weird. This doesn't have calories, but it still tastes sweet. That bugs me. I don't like that. So yeah, I want to start up streaming again soon. Yep. So that'll hopefully be getting back on board at some point this week. That's twitch.tv/GuildWarsMonk, guys.
Where else can the good folks find you?
Guild Wars Monk on everything, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. That's really all I do. And my stream is subbable now. So we got 2 emotes, guys. Yeah.
And you can find me at Inky Sticks everywhere, Twitch, YouTube, Twitter. My stream is subbable as well, but I don't shill it because very often. So hey, there you go. And you can follow the show at TyriaNow on Twitch and Twitter and our YouTube. So yeah, follow us. And if you've got any viewer comments, you can always email us at TyriaNow@gmail.com.
Indeed, you can.
All right. All right, guys, that's all we got for you today. Thank you for coming out and having an active chat as always. We hope we entertained you for an hour and a half. And now Aaron's going to go hang out with the cool kids, Kit and Age. And so I wish them all happy, fun times. Go have drinks for me. Wish I was with you guys because that'll be fun.
Yeah, you have to come out to PAX again. We can go on a group Arenanet tour. It will be great.
All right. Good night, guys.
See you guys.